So a couple of years ago, I was lying on my couch, and it was one of those lazy Sunday afternoons, you know, cloudy, and the rain was softly ticking against my window pane. And from my speakers sounded the following song. My funny Valentine, sweet comic Valentine, you make me smile with my heart, da-boo-doo-ba-doo. Is your figure less than Greek? Is your mouth a little weak when you open it to speak? Are you smart? But don't change a hair for me, not if you care for me. Stay, little Valentine, stay, stay with me each day. It's Valentine's Day. And the tears rolled down my eyes. There's something so beautiful about the musical interpretations of Chet Baker. He's always longing for this impossible love, and I too was longing for an impossible love, only to find out in hindsight that I was looking for myself. If you would have asked me to do this presentation a year ago, I would have stood here with a complete different story. I would have used theories, models, fancy graphs, sound arguments to convince you of my ideas. After all, I was taught to do so during my high school education and my education in university. I would carefully look at the world and analyze parts, decompose problems, and make them into comprehensible pieces of insight, ready to serve. I grew up in a Western world with a rational, scientific focus on the external. Now, 7 years ago, when I graduated in business, I was packed with all knowledge on how to do business and ready to contribute to our society. I remember, like it was yesterday, that once I set foot into corporate life, all I could think was, oh my God, this looks like an adult's kindergarten full of egos and territoriality and competition. But maybe it was naive of me to think it would be anything else. I was amazed by all the people that were so convinced of their own ideas about the right way forward. And all I knew was that I didn't know anything for sure. I started to believe that if only I developed my rational, social, and emotional intelligence, I would find my way as well in that corporate maze. But in the years that followed, on nearly every meeting I had in business, I had this question. I had this feeling that we weren't touching the essence of things. In general, the discussions would evolve around profit maximization, cost efficiency, process optimization, or employee engagement. And although I intuitively knew that I wanted to be talking about the essence, at that time, I didn't know what that essence was to me. So that felt kind of wobbly, as you can imagine. Now, things have to break down before they can be replaced by something new, and so it did for me. My relationship ended after 10 years. I saw my learning curve flatten out at work, and I felt increasingly unhappy. So I decided to quit my job, take a break, and go on a travel to think about what to do next in my life. And this adventure became a humbling journey that took me from the penguins at the Antarctic to the Inca ruins in Peru. And I saw those beautiful statues at Easter Island, and I gazed upon the same blue-footed boobies, the birds, at the Galapagos Islands. And I dived the deepest depths, and I gazed at the stars at the highest heights. And slowly but steadily, this journey became a journey into my own consciousness. And my curiosity led me to the Amazon to be taught by indigenous shamans and their plant medicines. I just wanted to know what they believed to be true or false or right or wrong. And this whole experience completely turned my worldview upside down. I realized that this fragmented worldview I had is merely a result of the fact that I have to use language to make myself understood. But the language I use, the language we all use, pushes us into the same boundaries that it is confined to itself. It forces me to think in differences between you, between me, between nature and the objects. Now let me tell you a secret. Nature doesn't know this distinction at all. It is part of a material and immaterial flux. And we are all part of that same whole that governs life and death. And at the smallest level of quantum particles, there is in essence no difference between you, me, nature, or those objects. Now, once I realized that in fact all is one, the idea struck me that every thought I have thus resonates and influences the world around me. Let me take the simple example. If I'm frustrated, I attract those who are attracted to frustration, and I scare off those who aren't attracted to frustrations. Now, is it that simple, I thought? So I create the world around me? That brought about a moral appeal. What then do I want my thoughts to be? And I knew that I shouldn't start by finding a certain truth, because there might not even be such a thing. Or even when there is, I would never be able to find it. The nature of my own thoughts are about my own subjective meaning I ascribe to the events around me. Now, taking that as a starting point, I had to ask myself the question, do I want to adapt to the system at place and do the best I can, or change the world according to my own ideals? Unfortunately, the answer was immediately clear. I want to change the world, great or small. And I hadn't answered that question in all honesty for myself yet. Okay, so I want to change the world. What should it be about then? In order for me to find that answer, I had to ask myself, what if I undo myself from all of the unnecessary? Money, career perspective, social expectations, or even distractions like advertising, every theory and model I had been taught before. I even had to let go of thinking in order to make place for directly experiencing what is left if I undo myself from all of the unnecessary. And at first I thought this might just be the process of giving and receiving. You can see that everywhere around. In nature, in which plants uptake carbon dioxide and give back fresh oxygen to this world. And this, all social interactions are a process of giving and receiving. Even economic theory translated this idea into supply and demand. Now, could this be the essence I was looking for? I somehow felt I wasn't quite there yet. So on closer examination, I realized that your purpose and my purpose, that our purpose unfolds based on what we give to this world. Take the example of a car. It needs gasoline in order to fulfill its purpose of driving. And the same goes for us humans. Our purpose unfolds based on what we give. Giving is the natural flow of energy. It's our natural state of being. But this energy can only flow freely if we relieve ourselves from all of the unnecessary, from all physical, emotional, social, or spiritual blockages. Finally, I had found the essence I was looking for so long. Giving is all we have. Now, allow me to take a small sidestep from this story and have a look on the society we have been organizing together. At some point in time, we have taken ownership as a starting point upon which to build our society. And ownership is the direct opposite of the natural giving. And the only thing that can result from ownership is fear of loss. And if I look at the 5 of the biggest industries in this society, drugs, gambling, prostitution, war, and the financial industry, and look at those from a distance, I see 3 characteristics. They're either all about materialism, or they are about protectionism. And as a result of the happiness void we all feel in between, we flee into escapism, whether it's drugs, whether it's prostitution, or whether it's gambling. I firmly believe we should take giving as a starting point upon which to build our society. So anyways, August last year, I came back from my travel with those insights. I want to change the world to evolve around giving. And although it sounds like a ridiculous undertaking, it intuitively unfolded for me. I couldn't change anyone else. Not by theories, not by graphs, not by models, not by observing the external. The only one I can possibly change in this whole wide world is myself. And prior to my world travel, I had bought a ticket to Lowlands Festival. Who of you knows Lowlands Festival? Right, so that's quite a few. It's one of the biggest music, cultural, and dance festivals in Holland. And I had bought this ticket at a reseller site for twice the actual amount because I had missed out on the official pre-sale. But you know, at that time I was happy. I had the ticket I wanted and I could go to the festival I loved. But returning from my travel with those new insights, I looked at that ticket, thought of the resellers, and realized that apparently they are a consequence of the way we are doing business. So I couldn't keep that ticket anymore and decided to unconditionally give it away to a random person. I set up my blog, Giving is All We Have, called one of the leading newspapers in Holland. And they gave me a small article that day after. And after that, things just went crazy. Thousands of visitors on my blog, hundreds of emails from people telling me, I don't want your ticket. Can I help you with this wonderful undertaking of yours? And that's when I realized that apparently many of us have a latent frustration about the way we are doing things together. Radio stations picked it up. Esquire magazine gave me an opportunity to write an article about the effects of giving in our lives. And eventually the unexpected happened. The festival director of Lowlands contacted me and offered me 2 free tickets in expression of his support for this initiative. So that's when I first experienced how powerful unconditional giving can be. And up to this very moment, I'm still amazed about what is happening. People and companies from around the world are unconditionally offering office space, graphic design, animations, copywriting skills to help me out in this quest. And now with Giving is All We Have, I'm undertaking all kinds of initiatives of getting this world to give. Starting at the way we do business, because I've always wondered, why is it that we all experience the joy and benefits of giving in our personal lives? Once we set foot into our offices, the discourse all of a sudden evolves once more about competition, ownership, costs, revenues. We might just as well face it. Our businesses are our role models. If they remain focused on bottom line profit, we will become money focused as well. And I've experienced it for myself. As an employee, I would expect a yearly pay rise. As a customer, I would bargain for the lowest price or willingly pay a price premium in the presumption that it would buy me social regard. I firmly believe that our businesses should focus on giving because we will become open-hearted and generous. But at this very moment, our businesses are still stuck in this old framework of ownership and materialism and protectionism. So now I'm helping them out in their quest for developing consciousness and teach them how to unconditionally give. And the story continues. The festival director of Lowlands asked me to come up with a proposal of getting 55,000 people to give at Lowlands 2012. Businesses and universities are asking me to talk about this new society I foresee. I even got invited by Princess Irene of the Royal Dutch family to discuss this. Yeah, so I'm amazed about what is happening. In fact, of all the ideas worth doing, this is probably one of the easiest. I will show you how it's done. I'm offering my lifetime of coaching, skills, and support to a guy or girl who believes he or she could use help by a guy like me. And I've just posted this on Twitter. And with the hashtag Giving is All We Have, I intend to provide the world with a platform for people that want to unconditionally give. Many people ask me, What are your goals for the next 5 or 10 years? I don't have them. I do have one big challenge though, but it isn't a challenge for the future. It's a challenge from the here and the now. It is about keep letting go of all of the distractions and then fully embracing what is left and unconditionally love myself, because only then I'm protected from all of the unnecessary. But I have this dream of a beautiful world that evolves around giving. It isn't that far away. In fact, it's already here. So imagine, that world is already here. What would you be willing to let go of? Social expectations, emotional, physical, or mental blockages. And then try to answer the following question in all honesty for yourself. What am I willing to give to this world? Thank you.